Hello and welcome to the Strong Girls Squad podcast. I have a feeling I'm going to have to turn my fan off, and okay, this is going to be a quick podcast. If you are listening to this on or around the 26th of June 2026, you will know exactly why I'm recording this episode. The heatwave, the second heatwave so far this summer, and it is literally the hottest I have ever been. Outside of my honeymoon in the Maldives, where I had boob sweat during breakfast. Sexy, I know. I am not coping with this weather at all. Neither's my hair, so this is au naturel frizz. Yes, again, sexy, I know. If you have found yourself standing in front of the fridge with the door open, lying spread-eagled on top of the duvet at 3 a.m, snapping at your family because you are so uncomfortable, or wondering why everyone else seems to be coping better than you and sitting out in the sun, this episode is for you. Because if you are in your early 40s and beyond and going through perimenopause, there is a very real reason why this heat wave might be hitting you a little bit harder than everyone around you. And before we go any further, can I just say I am struggling so bad. Something I have always dealt with is really struggling to regulate my body temperature. I'm constantly either too hot, too cold. I barely sweat. Me and my husband have a joke that I have like a really specific temperature that I feel comfortable at. And you know those women at the gym who somehow look completely fresh no matter how hard they're working? Sorry, but that's me. But not in a good way. I'm not glowing, I'm not going red, I'm just not really sweating at all. It only happens in really extreme cases. And it does sound like a nice problem to have, but it actually means my body isn't cooling itself down the way it should. So I can overheat without the usual warning signs, and I'm often comfortable in temperatures that other people find completely fine. And since entering perimenopause, my ability to regulate my temperature has become an absolute joke. When we get weather like this, I feel like my body simply cannot figure out what temperature it wants to be. By about 2 o'clock, my brain literally starts shutting down. I become less productive, less patient, more tired, less motivated to do anything. And despite knowing all the science, there are days when I still find myself thinking, like, what is wrong with me? Yesterday, I burst into tears for no reason. Just the heat. My body is dealing with a perfect shitstorm. That is what is happening. So let's talk about why. So one of the biggest hormonal changes during perimenopause is fluctuating estrogen levels. And most people know that estrogen often affects, that estrogen affects periods and fertility. What many people don't realise is that estrogen also plays a major role in your body temperature regulation, your blood vessel function, your sleep, your mood, your hydration balance, and inflammation. And researchers believe that falling and fluctuating estrogen narrows what's called your thermoneutral zone. So think of that as your body's comfortable temperature range. And in younger years, your body can tolerate small changes in temperature without much fuss. But in perimenopause, that comfort zone becomes narrower. So a tiny increase in body temperature can trigger sweating, flushing, feeling overheated, increased heart rate, anxiety-like sensations. Essentially, your body starts behaving as though you're overheating long before you actually are, which explains why your partner might be saying it's not that hot while you're contemplating moving into the freezer. And genuinely, this has happened about a million times over the last few days in our house, no joke. Kieran is dismantling an old bed in the garden and taking it to the dump in the midday heat, and I am literally dying with a fan right in my face doing nothing. Hot flushes are already one of the most common symptoms of perimenopause, and around 75 to 80% of women experience them at some point. Now, I don't actually have these at the moment, but obviously I want to cover them. A hot flush occurs because the brain mistakenly thinks the body is overheating. So it responds by dilating your blood vessels, increasing your blood flow to the skin, and triggering sweating, all of which are designed to cool you down. The problem is when the weather is already hot, your cooling system is already working overtime. So symptoms often become more frequent and more intense. Many women tell me, in my messages on Instagram, like, I thought my hot flushes had improved until this weather arrived. And that is genuinely really incredibly common. Heat itself is physically stressful. Your body has to work harder to maintain a safe internal temperature. Your heart rate rises, sweat losses increase, sleep quality, I was going to say often drop, but sleep quality does drop. So combine that with perimenopause fatigue, brain fog, hormonal fluctuations, night sweats, and suddenly getting through the day genuinely feels like such hard work. If you have noticed that your energy crashes earlier than usual, like me, it's because your body is simply spending more resources trying to keep yourself functioning. And let's discuss sleep. Because poor sleep and heat are a horrible combination. Core body temperature naturally needs to drop slightly before going to sleep, and this is one of the signals that helps you fall asleep. So when bedrooms stay hot, falling asleep becomes harder, night sweats increase, wake-ups become more frequent, deep sleep decreases. If you're already dealing with hormonal sleep disruption, heat can amplify everything so bad. And one bad night's sleep can make cravings worse, hunger higher, mood lower, training harder, recovery poorer. So if you're feeling more emotional, more hungry, and less motivated recently, sleep may be the huge piece of the puzzle. I actually spent the night before last on the sofa, and last night we got the airbed out, and I had that in the front room. And it's a perfect example of my temperature compared to my husband's. I need the fan on me all night. He hates the fan. So I slept on the sofa and then on the airbed with the fan in my face. I woke many times on both nights. The first night at 2:30 a.m. I got up, had a cold water soaked towel to drape on my body, and it helped. But both days I have woken up feeling incredibly exhausted and like I had zero sleep. Yeah, just thought I'd share that with you. In case you think it's only you that's struggling with your sleep. It's not. And something I've also noticed is that many of my clients have mentioned that their hay fever seems to hit harder at this time of life. And the relationship isn't completely understood, but there are a few theories because estrogen influences your immune and inflammatory responses. So fluctuating hormones may affect how sensitive women become to allergens. Heat waves also tend to increase pollen exposure because pollen counts are often higher during hot, dry weather. So if you are experiencing more congestion, itchy eyes, poor sleep, headaches, fatigue, the combination of heat, allergies, and perimenopause can leave you feeling absolutely wiped out. And then another thing, which we shouldn't be worried about, but obviously we are, the scale weight. And this does tend to send many women into panic mode. Yeah, standing on the scales. If you have stepped on the scales this week and you've seen an increase, please don't assume you've gained body fat. I have literally, I'm in a fat loss phase at the moment and I have purposefully avoided the scales. Heat causes water retention. When temperature rises, blood vessels dilate, fluid shifts occur, hydration patterns change, salt intake often changes, inflammation can increase. So most people will see a temporary weight fluctuation during hot weather. You did not gain 2 pounds of body fat overnight. You retained water, and there is a massive, massive difference. So please, the solution is not to eat less. It's not to skip meals. It's not to punish yourself with extra cardio. It is allowing your body to regulate. So what actually helps? The practical stuff. Some of this sounds boring, simple, and really bloody obvious, if I'm honest. But sadly, there isn't a magic hack that I'm about to give you. But sometimes you just need a bit of a reminder to do the simple things. So firstly, hydrate properly and do it consistently. You are sweating significantly, so you do need to replace that water. If you are doing a lot of cardio or running, or if you have a really physical job outside and you are genuinely sweating a lot, then you may need to replace your electrolytes. So because sweat contains sodium, so electrolytes can be useful if you're training really hard, sweating really heavily, working outside, feeling depleted. But please know they are not they are not magic, and they aren't necessarily for everyone. Sometimes simply adding a bit more salt to meals can be enough, and that's what I find. That's what I do. I don't really crave chocolate in this weather at all, but I did have some chocolate yesterday, and I actually sprinkled some salt onto it because I like salted chocolate, and I was getting that craving for salty crisps, so I knew it was probably my electrolytes, my sodium balance. But I don't actually take electrolytes myself. I don't sweat enough to take electrolytes. If I took electrolytes, I would be just making my pee really expensive. Another thing that I genuinely struggle with is eating regularly. A lot of women stop eating because they just don't feel hungry in the heat. So then by the late afternoon, your energy crashes, your cravings explode, your mood tanks. So what I need you to do is prioritize your protein, your fruit, your vegetables, and easy to digest meals. Think Greek yogurt bowls, protein smoothies, salads with protein, cold chicken and potatoes, simple meals that require minimal effort. I was lucky enough to get a Ninja Creamy in Lidl's the other week. I got the heads up from a client. I love you for that, Sammy. Thank you very much. And so I've actually been having protein ice creams for my lunch. Ice lollies are perfect as well, because especially if you're trying to kind of look at your calories, ice lollies tend to not have that many calories in, but they just cool you down a little bit. Please adjust your training expectations, and this is a real big one. Missing a session because it's 32 degrees in your house and you do home workouts is not a failure. Research consistently shows that performance declines in hotter environments. Your body is under greater stress. Training is going to feel harder. Recovery is going to take longer. Your heart rate might be higher than usual. So please respect that when you are in the gym. I have said to my clients, like, if you are training at home or somewhere without air conditioning, if you haven't done your session before 9 a.m, don't even bother. It is not worth it. And definitely, if you're in a gym with air conditioning, no matter how good the air conditioning is to this week, and this heat is not the week to try and get PBs. Cool your body down strategically. Okay, so evidence shows that cooling key areas can help reduce thermal strain. So cool showers, cooling towels, cold drinks, ice lollies, fans, cooling wrists and neck. I've found that sitting at my desk with a tub of cold water, so just having my feet in that, has really helped. Small changes can make a surprisingly large difference. And the other thing, which might actually be the hardest, is respect the fatigue. So sometimes the answer isn't another supplement, another productivity hack. Sometimes your body is genuinely asking for a bit of rest. And listening, it's important. I would call it intelligent self-management. And I do think that one of the reasons that women struggle during heat waves is because the solutions can almost feel too simple. We are conditioned to think that if something really works, it must be complicated, expensive, or involve a supplement. And when it comes to managing heat stress, sometimes the most effective interventions are also the simplest. So if you're struggling, give yourself permission to actively cool your body down. That might mean having an extra cold shower during the day, sitting in front of a fan, actually going back to the cold showers or cool showers. I had about 6 yesterday because they genuinely helped. So yeah, sit in front of a fan, use a cooling towel around your neck, put your feet in a bowl of cold water while you're working, reach for an ice pack during a hot flush. Somebody else messaged me last night, I think it was, to say she'd bought herself a dog cooling mat. She doesn't have a dog, but it's helping her. And I'm like, genius. Research shows that cooling areas such as the neck, the chest, the wrists, and feet can improve thermal comfort and help your body dissipate heat more effectively. Will it completely eliminate symptoms? No, but it can make a meaningful difference to how you feel and function. Karina says yes. Don't you? You're hot as well. But she just gravitates to the heat, don't you? And me. And I'm like, get off me. If you have ever put a damp towel in the fridge or freezer, wrapped a bag of frozen peas in a tea towel, or spent half the afternoon with your feet in cold water, you don't need to feel ridiculous. Yeah, you don't. Like, when I cooked dinner the other night, I had an ice pack in the front of my sports bra and an ice pack in the back. Zero fucks given. Not every challenge is solved by trying harder. Okay, when temperatures are high, your sleep has been disrupted, your hormones are fluctuating, and your body's cooling system is already under pressure, there may come a point where pushing through simply isn't the answer. And I know for me, there are days in this weather where, yeah, like I said, by around 2 o'clock, I can almost feel my brain and body slowing down. My concentration drops, I become less productive, everything feels harder at work than it should. And to be fair, like, it is 10:30 this morning. I have been sat in my pants by our open front door for the last hour planning this podcast and messaging a few clients, and I am already feeling absolutely drained. I feel like I haven't slept for weeks. So yeah, just please give yourself a little bit of slack. If you are struggling in this heat wave while navigating perimenopause, I want you to know that what you're experiencing is real. The overheating, the fatigue, the brain fog, the disrupted sleep, the water retention, the loss of motivation, feeling like everyone else is coping better than you when they're out sunbathing in it and you are, like, I literally have towels in front of my window, lights off, like, yeah. We need to adapt. Drink the water, eat the protein, move if it feels good, rest if you need it, and remember that this heat wave will pass. Until then, be kinder to yourself than your inner critic wants you to be, because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to stop fighting your body and start working with it. And if you are listening to this while lying in front of a fan, wondering whether it's socially acceptable to keep ice packs in your bra, the answer is yes, absolutely yes. Like I said, I did this while cooking dinner the other night, one in the front, one in the back. So stay cool, and I will speak to you later. Bye.